Hello, hello, hello. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas Eve. I cannot believe it's Christmas Eve already. It's crazy. Well, it's 1:12 a.m. on Christmas Eve. And I just woke up about an hour ago from taking a little bit of a nap. My husband has been literally in bed all day since we got back from brunch, watching movies and sleeping, falling asleep, waking up, falling asleep. He's had a very relaxed day after working a lot this last week. So, let's see, we got up today and we went to brunch, and I had my regular at brunch today. It was very festive at brunch. It was packed. There was a lot of people there. We have a waitress that we love. That's our favorite waitress there. And she happened to be our waitress. We don't, because you never know, who you're gonna get. But anyway, she was our waitress, which was fun. We got to talk to her a lot. And then after that, I went home and got my vlog uploaded today. And then, what else did I do? Let's see. I already had a cup of coffee, which I guess I've drank and thrown out already from Patashu when we left there. Cafe Patashu, our brunch place. And then, ran a bunch of errands, and then I came home, and Alex was asleep, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna film a couple videos. And so I sat downstairs, and I went upstairs first and asked him, I was like, do you care if I film some videos? He's like, no, I'm half asleep anyway, don't even worry about it. So he was out for the count. So I filmed a video for my Peter Monn channel. I filmed a Peterisms video, which was actually really good for me too, because it was about holiday triggers. It was this great meditation by Melody Beatty. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But then, I did a review of Bird Box, which was the movie that we watched last night by that Sandra Bullock movie that's on Netflix. So go check that out, and you can let me know what you think about the movie if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, whatever. And then let's see what else. That was about it. And then that took me forever to get all of that up and done. And I talked to Tanya for a while on the phone, and I kind of got my Christmas presents together and ready because I want to wrap them tomorrow. And I did not put the Christmas tree up. I've kind of made a decision I'm just not going to put it up this year, I think. And I'm not really sad about it, honestly. I thought about putting it up just for one day, and then I'm like, I'm just not going to want to. I mean, here's the thing, you guys, is the day after Christmas, I'm not going to want the Christmas tree up. I'm just when Christmas is over, I'm kind of okay, it's time to move on. I know a lot of people aren't like that, but I kind of am like that. I still like seeing the lights and everything like that around town, but for me, it's when Christmas is done, Christmas is done. I should actually drive through those lights tonight one last time. Because I've only been through there a couple times this year. Tanya and I went by myself one night and filmed it on here, and that was about it. I feel like Christmas came really, really quick this year, honestly. So then I went upstairs, and Alex was, at that point, editing his year-round picture on, I don't know, Instagram or Facebook or something, where you pick, all your pictures for the year. So he was putting that together, and I was like, I think I'm going to lay down for an hour. I lay there in bed and talked to him for a little bit while he was doing that, and then I fell asleep at around 10, and I woke up at about 12. So, and then I went downstairs, and I was putting my presents and stuff together, and what is the deal? Why is this light not turning? I'm gonna turn here. Of course, as soon as I turn it goes yellow. So come on, heat. So I, got up and I started getting my presents turned. I'm feeling for the heat because I want to turn it on, but I don't want it to be super so you guys can't hear in here. Getting my presents together for them to be wrapped tomorrow, and I actually don't know how much. Alex said we have a lot of wrapping paper, but we don't have bags and stuff, so I might have to go to Meijer later to get that stuff. We don't have any tape. We just have duct tape, electric tape. So I might have to get some tape and some bags and stuff later. Because I don't want to have to do a whole lot of that. McDonald's is packed. That's interesting. So, yeah, that was that. And it was just kind of a lazy day all day. And we were just talking about, before I laid down, we were talking about how we're going to spend the day tomorrow. We're going to wrap presents together. And then we have to be over at my in-laws at 7. Which is nice, because it's not super early, and know, I can like relax, get a coffee. If I want to buy one more thing or two, you know, I can go do that at the last minute. All this stuff that I bought, Carlitos and Sebastian, Alex was like, well, I bought these whole cans, and Alex was like, Carlitos already has those. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And so I was gonna give them to Tanya to give to some of her like nieces and nephews' kids. And Alex was like, why don't you just return this stuff and get some more stuff? And I was like, well, I guess I could do that too, but I just didn't want to have to go to Meijer tomorrow. And so he was like, well, there's a couple things that I have to get, so maybe we could go together. And I was like, okay. He's like, or if you just want me to return it, we can do that. I go, whatever, we can decide tomorrow when we get up. So we're gonna do that tomorrow. And yeah. So it was a nice day. It was just kind of relaxing. It wasn't super exciting, you know? Let's see what else. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, bum. I feel like there was something that happened today that I wanted to talk about on here. Now I can't remember what it was. You guys, I feel really, really bad about what happened yesterday with the whole vlog. I mean, there were a couple people that were like, I really wanted to hear this or whatever, and I felt horrible like reading some of the comments. I was like, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that would have just like been like, screw it, I'm not gonna post a vlog for today. And I'm so committed to this channel because I love doing it so much, which is why I went back out and did it last night. So I hope you understand that mistakes happen, and I actually haven't, that hasn't happened to me in a really long time. Like, I mean, I've deleted like a 10-minute Peterism video before where I have to like sit down and redo it, but not like an entire vlog. And I've deleted like parts of the vlog, but it's been a long time since I don't know that I can't remember the last time that I deleted an entire vlog. So I feel really bad about that, you guys. And yeah, I mean, the learning experience from it is for me to be more careful in the future. But anyway, I watched Smoky Mountain Christmas while I was putting that together today, or last night, and then I finished when I got home, and then I finished it tonight, earlier. And then I also want to watch Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. I want to watch All of the Other Reindeer, the Drew Barrymore cartoon, and there's something else I want to watch. I want to watch A Christmas Carol tomorrow, and then I feel like I've done kind of the things that I want to do this year for Christmas. I don't feel like there's a whole lot that I didn't get to do that I wanted to do. I mean, there's always things I wish, you know, that I would have kind of liked to have gone to this Yuletide celebration thing. I would have liked to have gone to these lights, this place that's like supposed to be like a living snow globe. But I actually talked to a lot of people that did some of these things, and they were like, yeah, they were good, but they were none of them were like, it was like over the top. My friend Valerie went to go hear, there is an a cappella group in Indianapolis. I think they came from Indiana University, and their name is Straight No Chaser. I think they're from here. I might be completely wrong. Or they used to perform at IU or something, because like Alex had seen them down there when he was in college. But if you've never seen them before, they're called Straight No Chaser, and they do this incredible Christmas show. And Valerie went and saw them. I think it was last night that she texted that to me, and they're really, really good. So if you guys have never heard of them, you should check them out. I'm sure that they have videos and stuff on YouTube. The bottom of my foot is itching right now, like my heel. Don't you hate that when that happens? So, I mean, we didn't do anything like that, but we don't, you know, usually do that kind of stuff. We just, you know, but as far as like the movies and the books and all that kind of stuff, I usually do a little bit more, but I'm okay with what I did this year. You know, it is whatever it is. I've felt very Christmassy this year. I do think I might put up my little Charlie Brown Christmas tree tomorrow, though. I do have like one of those Charlie Brown Christmas trees. It's literally like, you know, one branch with like a bulb. I have one of those in the basement, so I may put that up tomorrow. Anyway, Christmas Eve is always like one of my favorite days of the year, next to Halloween. Christmas Eve and Halloween are closely tied for me as my favorite day of the year. And Tanya and I were talking about this today. It's like I typically enjoy Christmas Eve more than, that was like the third time that I tried to use the word typically in a sentence. I don't know why. I enjoy Christmas Eve more than I enjoy Christmas Day. And although this year I'm really excited about going over to Caroline's and having dinner with them. I think that'll be really fun. So, turn staticky noise. Yeah. My meditation today was called Holiday Triggers. And it was about things that like trigger bad memories of us from past Christmases. It was really interesting, like the things that it was making me think about, not just with Christmas necessarily, but with just family stuff, just family-ish, like family things that happened. And most of mine, honestly, like the negative memories of Christmas and holidays are all centered around drinking. And since my mom got sober, like, I feel like it kind of redeemed those memories to some degree. Not that I don't still have memories of those horrific Christmases, and I kind of mentioned a few of them if you go back and you watch that. But, the last part of her life, that wasn't what Christmas was about for us. I mean, like, I have a lot of really great memories with my mom of Christmas. So, it's, I don't really have those kind of negative triggers. And it was interesting, I think I talked about this on here last night, I don't know, because I saw a friend of mine whose dad had passed away recently, and I was asking her how, like, she's doing with Christmas and stuff, and she's like, I'm just kind of ready for it to get over, and she was telling me that, she and her family are going to go on a cruise in the beginning of February, and she was really, like, end of January, beginning of February, they're going on a cruise, and she's real excited about that. And Caroline's going on a cruise too, I don't know when. That'd be funny if they were on the same cruise. But and she was like, my mom's in this grief class, and one of the things that they recommended to her, did I talk about this last night? I don't know, but they said to change traditions. I think I did, because I talked about it in my video again today too. And I was thinking about how, like, this is really the first year. Well, last year Caroline didn't do Christmas because my uncle was really sick. So this is really like the first year that we are doing Christmas just like Caroline and I, on Christmas Day, which is nice. And like our families, like I said in my vlog previously. But it's, at the same time, it has memories of the past. I don't know. And then my Christmas Eve with Alex's family is just so different than anything I had ever done growing up or, anything like that, that it seems so separate and removed from all of that. So I don't really compare those. And his Christmas Eve really is very much like a party. Like, it'll just be a lot of people, very loud, very energetic, and, all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. But it was talking about, like, these Christmas memories from the past. And, like, I remember, like, I think there's, like, this misconception. I don't know what other divorced families were like, but that, like, divorced families just sort of all this, like, sadness with Christmas and stuff. And maybe it has to do with, like, the age that your parents got divorced. My parents were separated when I was so young, like 6, I think, and then they were divorced, like, by the time I was, like, 8 or 9. My dad says 10, but I know that they were not separated that long. And so, I can just remember, like, other than the first year that my dad came over and spent Christmas with us, that was horrific because my mother got incredibly drunk and it just got almost, like, she was just almost violent and aggressive. She wasn't, but it's just, like, she was, like, moving in that direction. It was really ugly with my dad. But other than that, like, I would spend, like, the 23rd with my dad, and we would do Christmas Eve that night, and then he would bring me back home on, like, the 24th, and then I was done with Christmas with my dad at that point, and then I would do Christmas Eve with my mom and my aunt, and, uncle and Caroline, and then Christmas Day with them. So I didn't see my dad again until, like, the 27th, if that makes sense. I feel like I saw him a lot during the Christmas holiday, but I didn't see him, like, in between those 2 days. And that year that my mom it got really ugly, I remember, like, my dad left, and so I was still there. I mean, he had to leave, it got that nasty. Then his nurse that was like his nurse for like 25, 30 years. She came and picked me up. And I remember my aunt walking me out to her car. And then she took me over to my dad's apartment. And I was like worried about my mom the whole time. But like I was so little, like I was worried about my toys too. I remember that. And that was kind of like a wake-up call to me about like Christmas. Like that was a wake-up call for me about like Christmas and how bad. Like I think that was one of the first times I really understood like the drinking, because I kind of like saw it progressively throughout the evening get worse. And then I remember, like after that, my dad didn't come over to any other Christmases. I don't even know why they tried to make it work like that. But I mean, there's a lot of families that do that, I know. I mean, like today, it's weird. Like I didn't hear about it for a long time, and then I feel like the last couple years I've heard about a lot of divorced families or split up couples that are like, yeah, we spend Christmas together for the kids. I don't know that I think that's real healthy for the kids. I'm just gonna be honest. All of this shit that we say that we do for the kids, I mean, do we really think about what's in the best interest for the kids? I feel like sometimes that, like, my parents made some whack decisions for the kid, you know? And I'm like, was that really for the kid, or was that for convenience for you? I don't know, looking back, you know? I mean, I had a good childhood growing up, and, you know, it was mostly good, other than the drinking. I don't really even remember my parents fighting a whole lot. I can remember like a couple like isolated incidents, but other than that, I can't really remember them arguing a whole lot. And a lot of my childhood was like, you know, really good. Caroline and I were actually talking about this the other night, and I talked about it on here about how like, when we were growing up, she was like, okay, so this is what's so funny. She was like, there were these two, my mom and my aunt, well, really my aunt was really good friends with these two gay guys, and they were like super flamboyant, right? And I remember my mom loved them, and she was like, they're such good dancers. They would always talk about what good dancers they were, right? And so it would be, now, like in retrospect, as I've gotten older, I know what it was. It was like they were taking my mom and my aunt out to the gay bars and go dancing and stuff is probably what it was. But they were kind of like very professional gay guys, and I remember they would come over and they were always like in khaki pants and like button-down collared shirts, and they're really nice guys, and they always had boyfriends, you know, that like different boyfriends they would bring with them and stuff. But Caroline the other night, I said to her, do you think they're even alive? Like, they would be our parents' age, which is so crazy to think. Because, like, in my head, I can see this one guy. I think he was, like, a local actor or something. And I can kind of see him in my head. And I'm like, at the time, he would have been, like, 40, you know, 45. So I'm like, now he's got to be, like, 80 or something. You know what I mean? It's just crazy to me. And, neither of them came to my aunt's funeral or my mom's funeral. So, they were like really good friends. So anyway, so Caroline was like, do you remember them like being there on Christmas? Like, why would they? My cousin has no memory. Okay, let me just tell you. I'll bring up stuff and she has like no memory. In fact, there's a scene in my book when the twin brothers, they go over it's like a flashback, and they go over their grandma's house, and the thing is that I wrote the apartment to look just like our grandma's apartment, but in the book, the grandma keeps these snow globes in this like cabinet. She collects snow globes, and she tells them that they can play with them, but they have to be really careful. And Caroline was like, when she read it, she was like, I don't remember grandma having those snow globes. And I was like, yeah, because I made it up. She's like, how do you do that? You just come up with that stuff. I was like, well, I wanted to use the snow globe like as a symbol down the road. So that's why I used it. And it wasn't a deep symbol at that. She's like, so grandma didn't have those snow globes? I go, no, Caroline, grandma didn't have those snow globes. Grandma had a card dinner table that she played a honeymoon bridge at in the corner. So anyway, and we would eat dinner and, you know, whatever. She didn't have a curio cabinet or any of that kind of stuff with all of these very expensive snow globes in it. That was not our grandma. So anyway, But Caroline was like, do you remember those guys why would they have been at like my mom's house on Christmas Eve for Christmas Eve dinner? And I said, you don't remember, do you? And she goes, don't remember what? And I go, you don't remember like the cocktail parties after Christmas Eve? She goes, what are you talking about? And I go, Caroline, she goes, we used to have sit-down dinners on Christmas Eve. And I said, yeah, we did. We had like very, dressy sit-down dinners. But then, hold on a second, I've got to move. Please don't turn off. Okay, I was like checking the heat. And I said we would have very dressy sit-down dinners. We'd have like beef Wellington or something like that, My aunt would make this gorgeous meal, beautiful like, Waldorf salad and all this kind of stuff. And then I said, but then afterwards, like an hour later after we had had dessert and stuff, everybody would start showing up. It was very much like Auntie Mame, okay? And it would be like, I don't know, like 20, 30 people. And I kind of, it's interesting, like, I actually talked about this on my vlog last night, so I'm kind of retelling it, but, it's interesting in my memory looking back, I don't remember there being like any other kids there. Like I remember it just being Caroline and I, and she and I kind of like, cozied up in the corner and like of the couch together or like running around. And my aunt had this was when we were kids. Later, she changed her carpet. She got all the carpet taken out of her house. It was this green shag carpet. She had all of this green shag carpet taken out of her. I loved it. It was like green shag carpet everywhere. It was gorgeous on the first floor. Well, it was only one floor, but like in the bedrooms, in the living, everywhere was green shag carpet. And I just thought it was so fun. It was like bright, bright, bright green. And later she got like this peach Berber throughout the house. It was gorgeous too, but it was just like so completely randomly different. So anyway, Caroline was like, yeah, but like, okay, so we would go into the living room because my aunt had this huge Christmas tree and it was gorgeous. And we would lay underneath it. And the reason I remember this is because I used to do this at my house too. So I don't know, like she must have taught it to me, or like as kids, you like learn that stuff from each other. She must have taught it to me, or I taught it to her or something. But we would lay underneath this Christmas tree, and I can remember we would talk about like Santa Claus and like where he's at and all this kind of stuff, which is so cool now because of this whole Nordic track thing. Was I talking about this yesterday on here, or was I talking about this 2 days ago? Because I feel like, I know I talked about it last night on my deleted vlog, but anyway. But this cocktail party would be going on, and they'd be playing like the fun Christmas music, like from the 50s and stuff, and they'd be like dancing, some of them, and I'm sure I know the drinks were swilling, because people were intoxicated. And I don't know where my grandma was. Like, I can't really imagine my grandma and all this, probably in the kitchen cleaning up with her apron on. And so Caroline and I would always just be like in the little, like corner of a couch watching all of this go down. And she's like, do you remember those two guys? They were like, well, one of them was like really, really good friends with my mom and my aunt. So she was like, do you remember so-and-so? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, what happened to him? And she's like, I asked Dad, like, I think it was like 6 months before he passed away. And he said, I think he's on Facebook or something like that. And she's like, but I don't, know where so-and-so is. He's the other guy. And it's interesting, like, I don't remember the last time that my mom ever mentioned them. You know what I mean? Like, I have no clue. I think one of them moved far away, actually. So Caroline and I were talking about that, and we were talking about some of the other people that like would come over on Christmas Eve and stuff like that. I'm doing a Christmas, oh, it's gonna stop, hold on. Okay, I'm doing a Christmas rant tomorrow, and it's basically going to be a roast of my family for Christmas, and I've asked their approval already, so, and Caroline is getting roasted. But yeah, like Christmas Eves were so magical, and then I can remember like going home after that, putting on my pajamas and doing the Santa Claus stuff. And they did change though, like after my mom put the car in the ditch, because then we would have Christmas Eve at my mom's house. And I don't remember, I can remember maybe like a couple people coming over, but I don't remember it being, and they were like my mom's friends. My mom had like this husband and wife that she was really, their kids were a little bit older. I think her daughter was like 4 years older than me, and her son was like 6 or 7 years older than me. And she's one of my mom's like greatest friends in life, all of life. And they lived across the street from us. They would come over on Christmas Eve, I remember. And then another friend from down the street who was going through a divorce at the same time that my mom was, she would come down and they would kind of sit around for a little bit, but like, I don't remember like it being like this party environment, you know, like it had been at my aunt and uncle's house. Hell, I don't know, maybe like my mom was staying there and everybody was going back to my aunt's house and having a big party, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that could be, I don't know. My mom and my aunt got along well enough, but they also fought a lot. And I remember there would be times that like my aunt would call me and she would just be in tears and she'd just be sobbing and she'd say, your mother's driving me crazy, I don't know what to do. And, you know, she would say, my aunt said to me a couple times, she said, if your mother wasn't my sister, she wouldn't be in my life. Like we were just so completely different. And they were. Like, my mom was very beatnik. She was very different. She was, you know, my aunt was very conservative. My mom was very liberal. They just had completely different points of view. Like, my mother loved, like, Saturday Night Live and all that kind of stuff. I don't think my aunt had ever watched an episode of Saturday Night Live in her entire life. You know, like, they just were very, very different. My mother loved to, like, you know, watch some deeply intellectual movie and then have a 3-hour conversation about it. And I was thinking about her the other night because about, like, we would always talk about movies. That was, like, one of our favorite things to talk about. And Tanya brought up that 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri again. My mother would have loved that movie. I mean, she would have talked about that movie forever. And she also loved Frances McDormand. So, but they were very, very different, you know. And I found out, like, later in life, my aunt used to have these she used to have 2 or 3 of these open houses for Christmas. And one that she had was like just this like regular big like open house with like all kinds of people. And then she had one that was like, maybe she just had 2, but one was like closer, just like really, really close friends of hers. And it was like 10 women. And I found out later, and the reason why was because my aunt invited me to it. I got an invitation in the mail. And I called her, I said, my mom hasn't mentioned anything about this. And she goes, no, I just invited you. And I said, what? And she was like, well, I always feel bad because I don't invite you. But she goes, that's the open house that I don't invite your mom to. And I said, well, Aunt Kathy, I don't feel right about coming to that. And she goes, your mom knows I don't invite her to it. And I said, what? And she goes, she knows. She goes, you know, we've talked over the years about how we have separate friends and separate friendships, and she doesn't have to be involved in everything that I do, and I don't have to be and it was true. My mom had lots of friends that my aunt was not, you know, friends with at all, even though they were so close. But I think because they were 3 years apart, there was always in life between them, like, that tension. Do you know what I mean? That conflict. Like, that conflict they had as high schoolers, like, it was always there in their life. Like, always. Even though they were, like, super hyper protective of each other. It was so weird. Like, and I don't have any siblings, so I don't necessarily understand that whole sibling thing, but like, you know, like my mom would go off about my aunt. My mom would go off about my aunt, but then if anybody said anything bad about my aunt, my mother would almost get like combative. Like, you don't talk about my sister that way. You don't know my sister. You know, my sister is a very hard worker, you know, but nobody sang my aunt's praises louder than my mother and vice versa. You know what I mean? Nobody sang my mother's praises louder than my aunt. But they bitched and moaned about each other a lot. And, you know, what's interesting to me about that is I see that a lot between siblings. Alex and his brothers don't really do that. You know, there was a time when Alex and his brother Carlos didn't necessarily see eye to eye. And it had nothing to do with the sexuality thing. It was nothing about that. But there was a time that they weren't super close, and they had gotten into an argument, and then Carlos moved to Venezuela to go to college. Because Carlos went to college in Venezuela after he graduated from high school here. And so, you know, but they worked that out. I don't understand that. I mean, I guess, like, it makes me sad for people, like, I don't have a sibling. I've always wished I had a sibling, you know? And it makes me sad that there are siblings that argue and don't get along. But at the same time, you know, I can't speak to that because that's not my story, you know? I have a friend of mine, her and her brother are like, they both live here in town, and they both are, you know, like, there's not really any reason why they don't get along, if that makes sense. And this isn't Tanya or anybody else that's on my vlogs. They both financially do about the same. You know, they both have great families. They just aren't close, and they've never been close, you know, and it's just the two of them. That kind of reminds me of Caroline and I a little bit, and honestly, it makes me kind of sad. I'm like, and I always say to her, I wish that you guys were closer, and she's like, why do you care? She's like, I mean, I'm fine, so why do you, and I'm like, I don't know, I just think it would be nice for you, and she's like, I really don't think about it often, Family's tough. So this meditation today, going back to all that, was really good, and it was talking about triggers of holiday and, sad memories, and it was talking in there about, like, to be honest about your sad memories, and if you're struggling getting through the holidays, allow yourself to feel it. Don't push that away, and all of that. And I think it's really good advice, but at the same time, I know for me, the way that I look at it is, I only have a limited amount of, Christmases left with a certain amount of people, and I want to enjoy those holidays while I'm here and I have time to enjoy them. This heat is like driving me crazy today. It's like either super hot or, anyway, I want to enjoy them while I'm here, and I don't want to take them for granted, you know what I mean? I want to enjoy, like, one of the things I'll be ranting about is a food. I want to enjoy that food, I want to enjoy sitting with my family members. I don't want to, like, poo-poo that and hurry through it anymore. I just don't want to do that. And, I was actually talking to a friend of mine, I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody that doesn't watch my vlogs and wouldn't know I was talking about this, and they were saying, for years we've just, like, rushed through these Christmas and Christmas dinners. Like, we literally sit down, we eat, we wash the dishes, and we're out. Who was this that I was talking to? Maybe we were talking about this when I had coffee the other day. No, I can't remember who it was, but anyway, and I was like, that was our family. And she goes, isn't it so sad, because there's this huge buildup, and, like, for me, it is sad, because I think it's like, we go out and we buy these, like, specific gifts for people that we're, and I think the thing is that people are always like, oh, don't worry about me, like, I don't like gifts, right? So there's always, like, this humility to, like, downplay the gift you're getting when somebody's taking a lot of time to, like, pick out the perfect gift, pick out something that they enjoyed, spent money on you. Let's just be for real, we spend a lot of money at Christmas time, right, for family, and then it's like, it's just like this rush job or something, My aunt did not like to receive presents. She liked to give presents. But, that was actually something that always kind of, like, hurt a little bit, was that I loved my aunt so much that I always loved to pick her out really nice presents. And so I would pick out something really specific, but by the time that she got to my present, she had, like, 5 presents piled high, because she'd always say, she literally would sit there and she would say, I don't really like to get gifts, I like to give gifts. And I understand that. I think that's great, but other people like to give gifts too. And I think there's an art to graciously accepting a gift, saying thank you, and just really acknowledging that the person was kind enough to go out of their way to do this for you, It's one of the reasons why I try to always show on this channel, like, opening stuff from the P.O. box, because I think it's fantastic when you guys send that stuff to me. Don't feel like you have to. People will reach out to me and say, I wish I could send you something. And it's like, don't worry about it. Like, like my video, comment, or just sit there and watch it, and enjoy it. That's what I want you guys to do, is enjoy it. Don't ever feel like you have to send something to me. The only reason I ever got the damn P.O. box in the first place was because so many people started asking me, for it, and it's not that expensive to keep open, so I just do, This year I've gotten a ton of Christmas cards. I have them all saved, and I may go through them tomorrow on my vlog if I remember, because I want to vlog a little bit throughout the day tomorrow, so that I don't have to vlog late on Christmas Eve tomorrow night. But because I just know I'm not going to want to, like, leave my in-laws, go home, and then vlog for an hour. So I'm going to probably try to vlog throughout the day a little bit tomorrow. But anyway, I just got such beautiful Christmas cards from people. It was so nice. So thank you so much if you sent me a Christmas card. I think my mom actually taught me that, about just, like, being very thankful when somebody goes over the board to buy you something, or they even just think of you, like, oh, I got you your favorite pack of gum, or sometimes it's really just not that deep, Like, have you you ever, like, let's just say you're standing, like you're at work and you're in front of a vending machine, right? And somebody is sitting there and they're getting something, you're getting ready to walk away, and they're like, oh, well, what's your favorite? And you're like, I love Snicker bars, or like my favorite, you know, and 2 days later you're having a bad day and that same person comes and they bring you a Snicker bar just because they remembered that. I love that kind of stuff. Like, that stuff means a lot to me. It doesn't have to be anything that's really, really deep. Up, the train must be getting ready to go by because it's got the lights up. It doesn't have to be hot chocolate. Do you guys like Polar Express? It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything deep. I think that we can think about people, you know, in other ways. And I think, you know, especially on Christmas and the Christmas holidays, you know, even if it's just you and your husband, or you and your boyfriend, or whatever, or even just you by yourself. If it's just you by yourself, treat yourself. Go do something special, you know? What's something that you would never normally do? What's a food that you would never allow yourself to eat? What's something that you haven't had for a long time, you know? Is it ice cream floats? Is it an ice cream sundae? Is it some kind of pizza that you haven't had? Is it some food that you had as a little kid? You know, what do you want to have? Treat yourself to that today. You know, treat other people to just those small things. It doesn't have to be anything big. And I think sometimes we forget that, you know? I mean, damn, the thing that I'm most excited about, you hear this, listen. I love the sound of a train. Cars are waiting to turn. They can't turn because of the train. Oh, it's gonna come. It's coming right by me. I'm racing the train. It's about to come by me. It's not going very fast. Hot chocolate. That is a slow train. I'm literally going so slow right now, you guys. That is a really slow train. Don't you always think of trains as being really fast? Maybe that's a Christmas Train by David Baldacci. I think it's the little things, and like, in buying all the Christmas presents this year, as corny as it sounds, the thing I'm most excited about is getting a pound of my favorite coffee, this fair trade coffee called Choo Choo Blend, from this local coffee shop that's really cute. And I got it for Caroline's son because he loves coffee, and I'm really excited about getting it for him. You know, it's something that I love, and I know that he'll enjoy it because it's a good coffee. And it's just it wasn't even expensive. It was like $8 or something like that. It was even on sale, because when I went up there, this is why I ended up getting, she was like, it's half price. She's like, all of our coffee is half price today. I said, really? And she's like, yeah. And it was like 8 pounds, or it was like $8 a pound or something like that. So I was like, okay, well, give me 2 pounds of it, but 2 like separate bags. I kept some myself. And I think it's like, you know, because I remember him talking about how much he loves coffee, and he's drinking coffee with his friends now and stuff like that. So, you know, I think it's that. Like, you just remember little small details about people. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be like a bag of Lay's chips or something. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the kind of like fun stuff to get people. You know, maybe not for, you know, necessarily a Christmas, you know, present, if you, I don't know. And then sometimes that too. I think sometimes the greatest gifts I've ever received are little small things. Taco Bell is packed. I haven't had Taco Bell in a long time. Are the things that, you know, people remember about us, little like books and stuff like that. Oh, Lord. You guys, I am almost out of my pumpkin chapstick, which is okay, because I mean, it's made it through Halloween, it's made it through Thanksgiving, and now it's made it through Christmas. So I think it's time for us to chuck this one out. I actually really wanted a fountain Coke tonight, and because I am going to allow myself to drink them tomorrow on my diet, well, on my day off, my diet day off. There is somebody up in the Anytime Fitness. Well, good for you. I'm not. But anyway, but I stuck to my diet all day today. We went to brunch, and I ate my omelet, and then I ate half of everything else. And other than that, I haven't eaten anything. And I did really well all day today, and I actually felt a little bit thinner. And tomorrow's my weigh-in date, which is always, I have a feeling I'm gonna weigh in like the same that I was, I mean, I really struggled, you guys. I plateaued the entire week. I have a feeling I'm gonna weigh in the same that I did last week, or maybe even a pound or two more. And I hope it's not more. I just really, really hope it isn't. If it's the same, I can deal with that, because at least I stayed the same through the holiday season. I will say this. It is really, really hard to lose weight and stay on a weight loss journey through the holiday season. That being said, for those of you out there that are doing it with me, I think we need to commend ourselves. I think we've done a pretty good job, honestly. I really, I mean, I started this at 234.6 on YouTube, I announced it on YouTube, but before, when I really, got to the limit, then I said, I'm not doing this anymore, I've got to lose some weight, I was, 246, right? Okay, and that, we know, looking back, that's not the heaviest I've been. So, I've lost, 25 pounds more than that now, since I very first started this thing, and I really haven't gained it back, you know, and through the holidays to have stuck to that, because I can tell you, January 1st, going towards, down, you know, racing to Florida and Mexico, I'm going to be so focused on this trip and getting into shape that I know I can do it then, okay? I'm not worried about it then, especially if I made it through the holidays. But this holiday thing has been hard, and, you know, tonight, I was sitting there and I was like, well, I'm already gonna break it tomorrow, so I might as well just go have a fountain Coke, or I might as well go get this. And I thought, no, you don't need to do that. You know what I mean? You can do it. You make it through tonight. You know, I broke my diet Monday and Tuesday, and so then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Did I break it on Wednesday too? I don't think I broke it on Wednesday. I don't remember now, looking back, honestly. What did we do Wednesday? God, I have no clue what I did Wednesday. But I think the rest of the week I stuck to my diet. I just plateaued. I don't know what it was. I was eating everything I was supposed to eat, and I was putting in my Fitness Pal. It was everything. And I think one day I went over a fat gram by 1. You know, other than that, I really stuck to it all week long, and it was kind of disappointing. And then yesterday and today, I had started going back down again. But you have to remember that's from having gained, you know, weight from, and I know I'm not supposed to weigh myself every day, but that was from gaining weight from my 2 cheat days, right? And the other thing was that, but I'm proud of myself that I haven't gained back all of my weight. Typically through the holidays, I mean, with all of the candies and everything, I would have put all of the weight back on. I mean, literally, all 26 pounds I would have put back on, and then just been screw it, I'll just do it after the holidays. So I feel I kind of jump-started, at least. Not to mention that I got to the lowest point that I've been in years. I haven't been this, you know, the thing that, part of what's discouraging to me is I see myself in videos and I'm you don't really look any thinner than you did 25 pounds ago. You really don't. I mean, I cannot tell any difference looking, I mean, every once in a while people will say things you're looking thin, skinny legend, things like that. Well, that, or is it all angling, in an Instagram picture that I just happen to turn the right way? You know what I mean? My beard is really full right now. I think that's part of it for me. It kind of gets me down. I've been thinking a lot about shaving my beard off when I get down to the weight that I want to get. But, I'll tell you right now, I'm dying for a fountain Coke. And I know that I'm going to drink one tomorrow, and maybe, well, I mean, not a fountain Coke, but you know, I guess I have to specify this. Not a fountain Coke, but, I mean, that I am going to probably get at some point tomorrow. But, or some kind of special coffee or something, you know, just some drink that's not great for me. And then but at Caroline's house and at Carlos's house, they'll have 2 liters. So I will drink pop, because I'm not going to just sit there and drink water the whole night. And I want to enjoy Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I want to enjoy that with everybody, and I want to have fun, you know? So maybe I'll get some sparkling grape juice tomorrow. That would be kind of fun. Target had some really fun bottles of it. I think I'll do that tomorrow. I'll get some sparkling grape juice. haven't seen those bottles anywhere else, so I'll have to go to Target, but that's fine. I can just run in Target and do that. I'm trying to think of what else. So anyway, I mean, it's been tough to stick to it through the holidays, but I'm glad that I did. You know, I'm glad I started it before. And honestly, and I know this is going to sound crazy, I think it was the perfect time to start. I really, really do. You know, like, at the time, I thought, are you really doing this through the holidays? And a lot of people kind of said stuff about it, like, not just on YouTube, but like in my personal life too. Like, are you really going to try to do a weight loss journey through the holidays? And you know, the fact that like I stuck with my training, I never missed, you know, a training appointment, and that I stuck to my diet pretty good, I would say, you know, without going crazy, and all of that, like, I'm really, like, I'm proud of myself. You know, have I lost 50 pounds? No, but I didn't gain all that weight back, and I have to look at it that way too. Sometimes it's not always about, you know, like, when you're looking at achieving goals in life, it's not always sometimes about, you're not going to always move at the same speed that you always did. You know what I mean? When you look at other goals in life, like whether it was like me writing my book or whatever, you know, you're not going to every day be matching the same speed that you were the day before. But it's also about not losing traction. You know, it's also about not going back 5 spaces, so to speak. Does that make sense? So like, you know, okay, like on this weight loss thing, it's like, sure, I'm a little down that this week I probably didn't lose a whole lot of weight, but I didn't gain 5 either. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, at least I hope. I guess I'll know when I weigh myself tomorrow morning. But like, but if I didn't, at least I didn't gain 5 pounds. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I have to look at it that way. And, you know, I remember doing Weight Watchers back in the day, which if you're looking for a weight loss program, it's very structured. Weight Watchers is a great weight loss program. And I had kind of in the back of my head, like, if this didn't work for me, like the way it's working right now, I was going to do Weight Watchers. But I don't want to go to the meetings and stuff. I've done all of that before. So anyway, and even then, I didn't go to everything I was supposed to go to. But, I mean, the accountability factor was fantastic, and the things they teach you is good. But there would be weeks that I would go in there, and, you know, like, I can remember, like, the first week that I did it, I lost, like, 13 pounds. And then I lost, like, 7 pounds. I mean, I lost a lot because I was really heavy, so I lost a lot of weight really quick. But then there would be weeks that I would go in there that I literally lost, like, 0.4 pound. Like, seriously. And had stuck to my diet the entire week. Like, hadn't broken it or anything, you know? And I would lose, like, I mean, I did it for a really long time. And I would just lose, like, oh, it's gonna stop. Hold on. Okay. But I would lose, like, just a little bit, you know? Like, 0.4 pounds or, like, 1 pound, you know? But then there would be other weeks where I would lose, like, 3 or 4 or 7 pounds, you know? So it all kind of, like, evened out in the end that I was losing, like, and I think I did it, like, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. I really honestly don't remember how long I did it, but you know, my ex and I did it together for a very, very long time, and we ate so many green beans back then because green beans were like 0 points, and so you could, whatever you ate, you just like on top of that eat green beans. It was kind of fun, you know, but anyway, it would like average out to like 2 to 3, over a period of like 6 months, it averaged out to like I was losing like 2 pounds a week, which is healthy, right? Which is why people tell you don't weigh yourself every day, because it's discouraging, because if you do, I mean, my weight fluctuates so much with water weight and things like that, that one day I might be 4 pounds heavier than the next day, you know what I mean? Like, you just never know. So, but, you know, I kind of like to keep a little eye on that to see what's going on. And I know I probably shouldn't, but I do. And the other thing is sometimes it's very encouraging for me, you know, because sometimes if I wake up and I've lost like 3 pounds in a day or whatever, you know, which that's happened before, where like I haven't lost anything in like 2 or 3 days, and then like I'll lose like 2 or 3 pounds. That's encouraging to me, because then I'm like, okay, you can keep on doing this. You can do this. You can do this. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's all of it, I think, about making it, like, I mean, I've had this realization, at least this time, that I've got to get to the point where I am going to the gym, and I'm just not here yet. I don't know why I'm struggling so hard with getting motivated to go to the gym, but I've got to get to the point where I'm going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. Like, that just is going to have to be a part of my life for the rest of my life, number 1. Number 2 is, I just can't eat the way that I used to eat ever again. Like, those days are over. Like, you know, of the constant fast food, which isn't healthy for me anyway. And I will say, since I've started all of this, I feel so much better. Like, I really, like, that's the one thing I don't talk about on here very often, which is funny, that, you know, I talk about the superficial parts of it, of like losing weight, fitting into my clothes again, things like that. Like tonight, Alex was asking me, he was like, I think his mom was asking like what size shirt I wear now comfortably. And I was like, and I joked and I shot it out. I go, I'm a 3XL. He goes, you're a 3XL? I go, no, I'm not a 3XL. I was never a 3XL. I said, I'm in between like an extra large and a large right now. And he goes, oh, that's great, babe. And I said, yeah. I said, my 2XL shirts don't even fit on me. Well, a year ago, that's pretty much all I wore. If you go back and you watch my vlogs, I've talked a lot about that on there, that one of the reasons why I shopped a lot at Target was because they have a lot of different kinds of clothes that have 2XL as a size, where 2XL is a hard size to buy, you know, and Target even goes up to like 42 pant size in people, which I was at one point. I'm not anymore. And, you know, since I've started this in November, I've gone from a 2XL to almost like a large, and then I've gone from, you know, like my pant size was like a 40, and I'm now to between like a 36, 38. So I've lost like some inches, you know. Do my, am I still a little bouncy in the chest? Yes. You know what I mean? Like, I have another 20 pounds or so before that's gonna go away. And, but you know, like, I know if I just keep on putting one foot in front of the other, it's gonna happen. I know it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm convinced of it this time, and I'm excited about it. But the days that it used to be, like, do I think I'll still be able to enjoy food? Yes. But do I think that it'll be the way that it used to be? No, I don't think it'll ever be like that again, you know? It's interesting because I was like real worried about like this review channel, like reviewing food on there. And that's one of the things I love reviewing on that channel is like candy and food and stuff. But like I don't really go like, it's not like I review it and then I eat the whole package. It's not like I review the peppermint mocha and then I drink both of the drinks. Like that has not happened since I started that channel at all. Like I review the thing and then like I either give it to somebody like that I'm with or I'm gonna see, like Tanya, or I just get rid of it. I just don't, you know, like the peppermint mocha the other day, I took a couple sips of it and I was just like, you know, I saw Tanya afterwards and I was like, do you want this? She's like, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? It's just not that deep. And I don't find myself like engaging in all of that because I am so focused on it. And, so it's good. And I think that anybody can do it. You know, I think it's about, I don't know that I think it's so much about willpower as I think it is in trusting the process and trusting the journey and knowing that it's a little bit by a little bit. Like one of the things that is really, really, really keeping me focused right now is that, you know, you've already lost from, there have been times that I've gone to Miami at 245. I was 245 pounds and just said, screw it, I don't care. I'm not going to lose the weight, whatever. And, you know, I'm already 25 pounds thinner than that. And I know, like, if I keep on doing it, like, I've got, like, I don't know, Alex said like, it was like 95 days till Miami. He's doing a countdown. 95 days till Miami, you know? I know that if I keep on doing this, I'm at least gonna lose another 10 to 20 pounds in the next 3 months, right? So if that's the case, then I've lost a total of 45 pounds or, you know, whatever, or 40 pounds, 30 pounds or something, like, on all of this. And okay, like that's, I'm gonna feel a lot better about myself and I'm gonna enjoy the trip a lot more than I did before, you know, going into it when I just really didn't care at all. And that's the thing. And like I've already started thinking about like, you know, going on vacation and how I'm gonna do that and whatever. And like I'm not, because I can't just let myself go, you know, completely wild for 11 days or I'll put on so much weight. The other thing is that we're so active while we're on vacation, like walking. I mean, in Miami, we walk everywhere. So there's that, and then the music festivals, and, you know, I swim some, like when we go on someplace where there's a pool, I'm like in the pool all the time. I don't typically put on a whole lot of weight. And if you remember my last, I think it was when we went to Vegas, I actually lost a couple pounds just from walking around Vegas so much. So I'm not super worried about that. like, my eye is on the prize of, and there's no, like, end in place for me, I think, because I have this, like, goal weight, but then it's also maintenance of that and getting into shape and then eating healthier and whatever. Somebody commented on my blog, I don't know if it was this channel or another channel, but they said they couldn't wait until my trainer started introducing or educating me on how to find macros in fruits and vegetables. Like I don't know the macro thing. I don't understand it. He started talking about it the other day. I said, can we wait till the new year? And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, like, it's good enough for me to just like do this horribly processed food. And, you know, right now I said, can we wait until the new year? He goes, yeah, I'm very proud of what you've done so far. Let's just wait till the new year. But at the new year, he goes, I want to start talking to you about how to achieve your goals by like cooking a little bit. And which, listen, you guys know I don't like to cook. So if I'm willing to do that, hey, I'm all in, you know? But in finding some of those things in fruits and vegetables, and he's already talked to me a lot about that too, with like kale and lentils and things like that. And I don't honestly like hate that food. I really don't. Like, you know, I grew up on a lot of that food. Like my mom made lentil soup a lot, and I mean, I don't mind eating that. I like, you know, beans are high in protein and things like that. So, it's just going to be me relearning all of that stuff. But I'm excited about that as, you know, well, like, I really want 2019 to be like the healthiest year for me that I've had in I don't know how long, but a very long time, you know, where I'm eating healthy and I'm feeling good and, you know, like I'm working out and I'm very, very active and things like that. I'm excited about 2019. I've got a lot of goals I want to achieve, and I think some good things are going to happen. I think some fun things are going to happen. I'm really excited about 2019. It's going to be a good year. I think we have to go into things, you know, with a positive outlook on it. Oh, but this was what I was going to say. You know, every other year, it's like, I start in like September and I'm like, okay, I'm going to diet. Like I said this last year and I was like, I'm going to start, you know, dieting. And then by the time I get to Miami, I'm going to lose the weight and whatever. And then I never do, right? And that's kind of one of the things that's keeping me focused right now. I'm like, okay, that, and then the summer, because I want to enjoy like the summer and, you know, the clothes. And I also don't want to be huffing and puffing around all summer long. I want to be able to go to concerts and stuff outside and enjoy it. And, you know, I don't want to be like, you know, losing my mind off that stuff. I just don't. So I'm excited about that as well. And, you know, so it's the maintenance for me too. I just really wish I was like one of those people that, and like in the past I kind of was, so I don't really understand why this time it's different, but I wish I was one of those people that like started working out at the gym and then I wanted to be there every day, and that's just not the case. It's just not the case at all. I'm really struggling this time with like any kind of motivation to get my ass to the gym. And what's really interesting is, you know, one of my things is that I'm really intimidated by like serious working out people being up in the gym when I go there. But at Anytime Fitness, like when I go there during the day for my training sessions, there's really not that many people there. There's maybe 5 max in the whole gym, and they're all kind of doing their thing and they're not paying attention to anybody else. Because I've always thought, every time I go in there on Mondays, I think to myself, I could come in here like during the day, like this would be totally fine for me, you know? I don't know. I think part of it is also like I'm a little like socially, I mean, it's the social awkwardness, but not only that, but like the anxiety of my trainer, like kind of like watching what I'm doing out of the corner of my eye, which I know that's what he's there for, you know? But it's like, I don't know. But I really want to get into that, you know, going into 2019, just making that a routine of mine, that I'm like at the gym all the time and I'm eating healthy and all that kind of stuff. So I want to watch a Christmas movie before I go to bed tonight. Years ago, I saw, like years and years and years ago, Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. Anyway, before I get into the movie thing, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting me through this weight loss journey. For those of you out there that are doing it with me, I really, really appreciate it. For those of you that aren't, thank you for tolerating all of the food talk on here and having to listen to all of it. It means a lot to me. It's just good for me to talk about, you know, and yeah. it's been really like helpful for me to talk about it on here, and I really appreciate it. And if you're thinking about doing it, you can do it. You know, take one day at a time. Like, that's really what I do with it now, and I don't beat myself up if I fall off track. And I think that's really a big part of it for me this time, is not beating myself up, but also not losing sight of what, like, you know, keeping like one foot on the journey, you know, and saying, okay, well, you messed up a little bit, but let's just get back on it tomorrow. Like, that's been really good for me. And not losing sight of what the long-term goal and journey is, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to lose sight of that. This is my Starbucks cup, actually, the one that fell apart. Do you remember the blue one? And this is going to sound crazy to you, but I almost like it just like this. Like, I use this just for drinking water, and I constantly have this filled up in the house. And I think this has really, really helped with me drinking water. Like, I drink a lot of water anyway, but I think I've been drinking so much more water because I constantly have this filled up. So I showed it in here in a vlog not too long ago, but I keep this huge, like, you know, gallon container in, the fridge of cold water, and then I just fill this up, and then I have this around the house. If I'm next to the computer, if I don't have coffee, if I'm working on the computer, I have this. If I'm in the bathroom getting ready, I have this. If I'm like cleaning up the kitchen, I have this. And are any of you out here like this? Like, why am I so crazy that today I was like, so I cleaned up the whole kitchen today, right? And dusted and did all this kind of stuff. And then I was like, I think tomorrow, like, I want to put a Christmas movie on and like dust everything and clean it up so it's really nice for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Who thinks that way? Okay, it's just gonna be Alex and I. Why do I love to clean? I do, though. I don't do it enough. Like, it's not like our house is spotless. It isn't by any means. But I do like to clean. I enjoy it, you know? Like, is that so crazy? I don't know what that's about. Maybe Alex and I will do face masks on Christmas Day, and when we get back from Caroline's house, and watch movies or something. We haven't done that in a long time. I wanted to get our Q&A up. Maybe we'll aim that for Christmas Eve. We've got a whole week to do that. And I never did put the questions up on my Instagram, so I still need to do that. I'm really excited about tomorrow and Christmas Day. Like, I'm always excited about Christmas, but like, I don't really think it through. And like, tomorrow and Christmas Day, I'm really excited about just kind of the hanging out. Like, Alex said to me tonight, he was like, you can wear pajamas to Carlos's, and I was like, what? And like, every other year, I don't know, Maya, the last time she was in town, she and Alex came up that we were gonna all do onesies. And so, but he was like, you can wear pajamas. Like, I think some of the people are gonna wear pajamas. And I was like, I think I'll just wear jeans and a hoodie or something. I'm good. But it's like so relaxed. It's not dressy, which is kind of nice. Alex and I usually dress up for it, but I said to him, I go, what are you gonna wear? And he was like, well, I got a new pair of pants from Pakistan. They're like blue pants, not jeans, but pants. He's gonna wear those, and then some shirt that he got. I mean, he always kind of dresses nice, you know? But, we're gonna have such a fun time. It will be so much fun. So anyway, I was thinking about the Christmas shows that I want to watch before Christmas is over. I had this favorite show back in the day, and it was called 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. And it was about, I mean, obviously it's the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, you know, and all through the house, but it was about these mice. And these mice that worked for this town, and they fixed the clock, and the clock, you know, for Santa Claus. It was like one of my favorite Christmas shows as a kid. And I can't find it anywhere. Like, I've literally looked year after year, and I can't find it anywhere. I used to have it on a VCR tape, but I don't know where that's at. I mean, I had it like written, you know, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas on there. And then I love The Night They Saved Christmas with Jacqueline Smith. I think that's what it's called. I'm gonna like just bang these out like back to back. I've already watched Smoky Mountain Christmas Carol. I'm gonna watch tomorrow. Oh, but one of my favorites back in the day, like when I was a kid, I don't remember when this came out. I think it had one of the guys from Dukes of Hazzard or somebody like that in it. But I looked it up, and it's actually on YouTube, the whole movie, and it's called Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. And I think it's about this guy, and he's like a truck driver, and it's like a blizzard and all this kind of stuff. Those are the kind of Christmas movies that I absolutely live for. And so I want to watch that, and I want to watch Rudolph, because I haven't watched that. I did watch Frosty already this year. I watched Polar Express, but I can always watch that again. I like to have that on in the background when I'm kind of like doing stuff around the house. So it will be Christmas show extravaganza tomorrow. My husband will be losing his mind. He's not a big lover of like the Christmas movies and stuff like that, because like that isn't like what he grew up with. Like he didn't like we were at his the last time we were at his brother's house, they were playing like all this music, and Alex was like, this is Venezuelan Christmas music. And I was like, it is? He was like, yeah. He was like, this is what I used to listen to as a kid growing up. So like it just, and it like, so a lot of our Christmas music doesn't mean a whole lot to him. He does love, his favorite Christmas song is Carol of the Bells, so that is my husband's favorite Christmas song. I think my favorite Christmas song, I said this earlier in a video, is Silent Night. I talked about this. Did I talk about this on here last night? My favorite version of it is John Denver and the Muppets. And the first part of it is in German. If you've never heard it before, look it up. It's fantastic. And I was gonna link all this stuff underneath my Peterson's video, and I forgot to do that. But it's such a beautiful version of it. And I know it sounds corny because it's John Denver and the Muppets, but it's not. It's fantastic. And you know, later in life, after my mom and I, after we got sober, we would like, I can remember going over to her house. So we would go over to my aunt's house for Christmas Eve. And the cocktail party thing, was not something that lasted until like the later years in life. My aunt and uncle started going to bed earlier and earlier and earlier, and so Christmas Eve was kind of done, you know, somewhat earlier. But I do remember, well, that's not true, because I can remember, I'm thinking about these family friends of ours, they would come over and they would still be there when we would leave early. We would leave at like 10 and they would be there, and I can remember asking Caroline like, how late did everybody stay? And she'd say, oh, they stayed till like 1 or whatever. So that's not necessarily true. But I would say like that was after my mom was gone, really. So after the last 5-6 years of my aunt and uncle, you know, Christmas, they would always sleep really, really early on Christmas Eve, and they'd be in bed, you know. So I guess while my mom was still alive, they did continue to do the cocktail party thing afterwards. But anyway, I can remember my mom and I would leave, and we'd leave about 10 o'clock. You know, it would start getting a little, you know, buzzed. And so we would leave, and we would come back to our condo, and we would sit around, and she would make a pot of coffee, and she would light candles, and it was real low lit in the condo, and she would make a fire, and we would sit there, and we would just like talk about, you know, the night and everything that had happened. And my ex must have been there too, because we always spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day together, but I don't, because Christmas Day we would go over and unwrap presents, and then we would go and visit his family in Seymour, where he was from. Yeah, I guess I can remember him being there, but like my mom and I would sit around. We would sit around, and we would, like, you know, talk and tell stories, and then we kind of like joke about the things that had happened that night, and, you know, like funny things that had happened on Christmas Eve night and whatever. And it was nice. And I can remember we would like walk and just around her neighborhood. My mom and I loved to walk at night. That was like one of our favorite things. It was always so peaceful and still, you know. I still like being outside at night. I really love it. Like when I take the dogs out late at night, I love that. And then my mom, like my entire life, she loved to watch. I meant to look it up tonight. I was thinking about it as I was getting ready to look it up, and I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I think it's at the Vatican, but is it in New York City? Maybe I'm wrong, and it's St. Patrick's or St. Paul's or St. Peter's, because I don't know, Cathedral in New York City, is that the one that she watches? And I was like, Shirley all this time, and don't call me Shirley. I thought it was the Vatican and it was something else, but maybe it is, you know. But it's the midnight mass service. Do you know what I'm talking about? And so as I got older, though, we would have that in the background, and I can just remember, like, you know, the songs are like the la 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 la. I mean, it's like very just silent, you know. It's not like tons and tons of voices singing, and the service is just very quiet and it's echoing off and it's beautiful, you know. My mom loved Gregorian chants too. And the night that she passed away, you know, when we all went into the hospital room, my aunt before was playing. She had 2 CDs, and one of them was my mom's favorite show tunes, and because my mom loved show tunes, and then the other one was Gregorian chants, and those were like monks chanting. My mother loved that music. She loved it. And she was a person that really appreciated silence and peace. Even though she, like me, it's interesting because I think, even though like me, she was a talker, she was really a talker. In fact, like, if my cousin Caroline was sitting right here, she would say, your mother talks twice as much as you did. If people think you talk a lot, they never met your mother. Like, she really did. And very fast and very loud. And always telling stories. But, you know, the thing is that both of us, for being talkers, really appreciate silence as well. Like, that was something that she loved and sought after, was silence and peace, you know? And, she loved that. And I can remember some Christmas Eves, you know, this glass is just like all over the place. Hold on a second. I can remember some Christmas Eves, us like, you know, walking down the street and just holding hands, you know? And maybe that's also partly why I miss having, like, you know, snow on Christmas, is because it kind of reminds me of all of that. It must have snowed really bad was it the year after I got sober? It must have been, because it was just she and I, and that boyfriend that I was with for 5.5 years, he would spend part of Christmas with us, but he usually ended up Christmas Eve at his family's, because he had a lot of little brothers and sisters. It's gonna stop, hold on a second. So he would end up the night at his mom's, because he had like little brothers and sisters. Stupid thing. Half brothers and sisters. And so sometimes I put this on here wrong, like I just did. I don't want to break it. I will say that these things, like the lids, do not go on very well. You have to like get it just right. Oh, come on. There. But he would come over for Christmas dinner. Now I feel like this is really low. Christmas dinner at my aunt and uncle's, and then he would stay until about 8 or 9, and then he would leave. And he would go over to his mom's house, and he would stay there. I remember he called his little brothers and sisters the Littles. He had a brother that passed away later. He had a brother that was gay, that was my age. He was just, God, how old is he now? I think he just got engaged. I saw it on Instagram. I think he's 2 years younger than me. So anyway, I think he's 2 or 3 years younger than me. So anyway, he had half brothers and sisters that were much younger, and so he would go over there, and he loved spending Christmas with them. And I don't know why this is so random. I can remember him coming back over on Christmas Day, and I was like, well, what did you guys do last night? And he was like, everybody got in their pajamas, and then we did the Macarena. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, we were teaching my little brothers and sisters the Macarena. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. But I don't know how I remember that. So, so he would like go, you know, home, and then it was just like my mom and I. And I remember my mom, you know, asking me to stay a lot. I think I did stay 1 or 2 years, but I think other than that, I always went back to my apartment and slept, and then came back over the next morning. But I think that first year was when it was like really, it would have been the year, like the first year sober, so I would have just celebrated a year. And I remember she and I walking outside. Was it that year? I can't remember. And the ice, it was like really icy and snowy. It wasn't like snowing at that time, but it had, and it was like really, because we were kind of like, you know, like walking down the street, and I can remember it being icy, and she and I holding hands. And I remember we just like were very quiet, and we like would talk a little bit, but there wasn't a lot of talking. And I remember we came back afterwards, and we sat down, and we had like coffee. We made a pot of coffee, and that was really fun. But and we sat there and talked, and But I remember before there, I always associate that Windham Hill, those like Christmas CDs with my mom. They have like winter, it's like, one's called Winter Solstice. I always associate that with my mom. I used to play them when I was in high school. I loved them because she loved them too. So she would play them, you know, and like I can kind of remember like that playing and like the church service on the TV, and like, you know, we're like warming up and cold, and she's made a fire. And if you don't live somewhere cold, when you make a fire in the fireplace and then you go out, like she made a fire and we walked outside, we just walked around for like 20 minutes, you know? When you make a fire in the fireplace and then you come, like you walk outside, you can smell the chimney, and it's like one of the greatest free gifts in life is smelling a chimney outside in the cold, brisk air. It's one of the most fantastic things. And if you do live somewhere where it's warm, then it's kind of close to, you know, when you get a whiff of really, really fresh cut grass, like lawn, you know, it's very similar to that. I love smells. I love, and you know, like in our neighborhood right now, because everybody has wood burning fireplaces, it's like, except for ours, because ours is not working this year, and Peter didn't get a chimney sweep to come and clean it out. But one of the things I love is like standing outside and you can see all the chimneys and you can smell them all, and they're great. Oh, it's so good. I got real sad earlier today, thinking, you know, maybe this is going to be PP's last Christmas, and I hate thinking that way, and I just can't, you know, like, every year for Christmas, I get them little presents and stuff, and they're so cute, and he seems so good right now, you know, and, you know, but whether it's this year, or whether it's next year, or whatever, I mean, it's not like he's going to have 15 more Christmases, you know, none of them are. I don't even know how many Christmases we have, you know? And I think that's where it gets like into really, really appreciating each and every, you know, Christmas. And I told Alex, I said, Christmas Day, like after we get back from Caroline's, like I'm gonna wanna take a nap because I'm gonna be full. But then I would like to just sit here and watch movies with you and the dogs. And he was like, I would love that, you know? And so that's what we're gonna do on Christmas Day. Unless I get a bunch of videos filmed tomorrow, which I don't think I'm going to do. The only thing I plan on doing tomorrow is filming a rant video, posting this. I mean, of course, I'll still do my vlog, but posting I'm going to do a rant video for my main channel, my vlog. I may do a review video, because I want to review Dumpling. And, but other than that, I don't think I'm going to post any other videos on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I started getting kind of like manic tonight thinking about it, and I was like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to post this, but I was like, you know what, just enjoy Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Just enjoy it. You don't have to post videos on those days. It's just be with your family, okay? Just, Peter, be with your family and enjoy it. It's just not that big of a deal. And that's one of the greatest things that happened, you know, out of me taking some time and just posting when I wanted to post, is now I can take a day or two off and I'm not too stressed out about it, you know? Now, the rant video tomorrow, I want to do because I'm excited about it. But, yeah, I don't need to do, you know, a bunch of videos just so that. And at the same time, it's like, well, please introduce me to your family if you're around your family. Be like, this is Peter, and I watch him, and you should watch him too. But, you know, pick whatever favorite channel of yours that you watch. I just want to say this too, and damn it, I cannot remember. Shoot. So I shouted out, and I know they watched my vlog because they showed it in. Hold on a second, I'm gonna pull in this neighborhood so that I can get the name right. Sweet Caroline, bum bum bum. Good times never felt so good, so good, so good. Okay, enough of that. All right, let me pull into this neighborhood for a second. So, I'm gonna make sure I get the name right. Where is that? Where is it? Where is that? Zelina reached out to me I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Zelina reached out to me a couple days ago, and she was like, my mom's birthday's tomorrow, and she watches all your videos, and you guys, I get a lot of requests for this, and I honestly, it's nothing more than like, I totally planned to do it. I screenshot it, and then like, I'm sitting down making the video, and I'm like literally, this happens to me so many times. I'll get like 3/4 of the way through it, and I'll be like, oh my God, so-and-so's boyfriend reached out to me and asked me to do a happy birthday, and I can't remember their name, and let me like go in there, and I want to read it, but I don't want to re-record the whole thing, and then I forget. So sometimes I try to come back the next day or whatever. But I did remember, and because I had, like, she and I kind of like had a little exchange back and forth, because she like reached out to me and she was like, could you like, you know, shout out my mom? I think she said shout out my mom or something in a video. So I did this whole thing in a video the other day, and her mom's name is Christine. Hi Christine, how are you doing? Merry Christmas, and thank you for watching all of my videos. And Zelina, your vlogs rock. I watched them today when I was sitting around the house getting stuff done. And they did this video, and this is how I like went and like watched the vlog, is that she had made a video about me showing her mom the video where I shouted her out, and I'm sitting there watching this, and it just was like, you have no idea, Zelina, you totally made my night. You totally made my night. And, you know, I think that people don't really know, like, when we get the message, like, you know, when you're doing something kind in the world, you don't really know when it's going to affect that person, if that makes sense. And your kindness really affected me tonight at the right time, today at the right time. I wasn't having like a horrible, shitty day. It was nothing like that. It just was kind of like, you know, there was a moment where I was missing my mom, and, you know, I was sitting there and I was kind of thinking about some things, and, you know, and then all of a sudden I'm like looking through and I see this video, and I'm like watching it, and here it is, she and her mom, and they're in their car, and it reminded me of me and my mom, and they're like, and so then they're standing in the kitchen, she's showing her this video, and it meant so much to me. It just meant so much to me, and I want to thank you so much for that, and it just was awesome. It just totally made my evening. So I'm glad that your mom enjoyed the birthday wishes. Christine, happy birthday again and again and again, and Merry Christmas to you guys, and I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. And the battery's flashing at me saying, Peter, it's time to shut up, so I'm going to shut up here in just a second. But I just want to say, you know, I really appreciate all of the support that you guys have given me, and, you know, the people that have continued to watch this all year long and continued to leave comments or watch silently from the sidelines. You mean the world to me too. You know, sometimes I won't get anything, the message from anybody, and then 8 months in, somebody will message me or email me and say, I don't feel comfortable commenting on a video, but I just want you to know that I watch your videos every day, and they really brighten up my day, and that means the world to me. That's why I love doing that. That's why I don't mind going out after I've deleted an entire vlog and driving around for another hour and vlogging, because I love doing this. I love the interaction, and you guys give me as much as I hope I give you as well, and I love this channel. I love this channel so much, and I just want to thank you. This has been the greatest gift that you guys have allowed me, is by me talking about my life for the last year. So thank you, and we're gonna have many more years. And I do want to say one last thing before this battery dies. I want to send out my thoughts and my prayers to Letty. You guys know that Letty and I have had kind of like a long time online, you know, relationship, and her mother passed away. I reached out to her. I really feel for her. It reminds me a lot of me and my mom, and I love Letty. I think she's just a fantastic person. And going through that at Christmas time is really tough. So Letty, I love you. I think you're fantastic. And for all of you out there that are struggling this time at Christmas, I want you to know I love you. I'm thinking about you. You're going to get through this. You're going to be just okay. Like I always say, you will survive, and you'll get through this. And, you know, and maybe next year will be the greatest holiday season of your entire life. And I believe it will be. So I love you guys, and I will be back on Christmas Day. So I will see you tomorrow, just like Santa Claus. I love you guys, and I will see you then. Bye.